Okay. We won't do the t-shirt stuff because we already made the t-shirt.
Yeah.
But run through the agenda for today. So, hey everybody, this is CK. I am the creative director and founder of Liberatory Learners and Titties. And today is our first workshop, our Thank You Titties and Goodbye Plastic. Dear New York City, we are getting rid of plastic forever. Kyle is an SYEP intern and he has joined us. We are still waiting for one participant to join us to hop on the call, but we're going to go ahead and get started with the class today. So Kyle, if you could please open up a Word document, and ideally we would have multiple people and we would be reading each other's answers off, but since it's just you and me for today, we could still run through the exercise. So my first question for you is, when did you start caring about the environment or working with plastic? And this section here goes into our why, what is your story? What is your plastic story, your origin story? Like this. And I'll give us about 2 minutes or a minute and a half. About 30 more seconds. Okay. All right, Kyle. Want to share your answer with us, please? So when did you start caring about the environment or working with plastic? And those two things are interchangeable. Kyle?
Yeah, do you want me to, how do you want to do this?
You just share your answer.
So
And then I'll share.
Yeah, I would say I started caring about the environment because when I was a little kid, my parents, they always wanted to do all sorts of things with me and my sister, go to the beach, and you see all the trash there and things like that, and you see how people, they come and go, and what stays at the end is all of the stuff they leave behind. And whenever I went to these kinds of, they also have places like New York State, they always have events where they have things like, for kids, they have like the tank with the oysters in them. That always intrigued me because the oysters, they can like clean the water and stuff like that. And there are a lot of little things like that. So it's always been something I kept in mind. But I wouldn't say day to day, I don't think the environment necessarily is something I think about every day, like in terms of what I do. But I've always liked to keep it in mind because it's those little things, they remind me, those are things that are important.
Cool. Thanks for sharing. My experience with plastic started probably, I want to say, in grad school when I was living in New York City. And I spent 19 years in Singapore. And to give you context, Singapore is known for its clean and green environment. We have fines around if you live there and stuff. So I grew up in a really clean space for the most part. And so when I was living in New York City, it was a huge, and I had visited before, so I had an idea, but living there is a whole different thing. And there's something in me that was like, I know we can do better. And I saw what it did to people's behavior when you already see a trashed up place. You're more than likely to also want to contribute to that trash. And I actually called out these kids. I think they must have been like middle schoolers or like early high schoolers. And they were running around the neighborhood that I used to live at in Bushwick. and he threw like a can or something like on the ground, and I was like, bro, like pick that up. And then they said something back to me like weird, like, oh yeah, they were like, I'm pretty sure they said we're from the Bronx, and I'm like, so what? Like, you don't get to like, even if you're from, like, it doesn't matter, you know. And then they just like ran off, and so I was like, right, this is like learned behavior. And so people did. And then in community development, there's a theory called broken windows theory, where if people see like unused buildings, they tend to feel and treat the environment not as with much care. It's like a mirroring effect. So that sort of like got me involved in plastic, and like just like thinking about it. And like I had this one crazy idea where I was gonna like, I don't know, like write a fund or something and get a bunch of like monkeys from Thailand to come and like pick up the plastic bags in the trees. And like, I don't know, it was like this like idea I had. And then what really shifted was when I was in Hawaii after I graduated. I must have been there for maybe about a month or so with my family. And that was really like the pivotal moment where I really started to like, I love the ocean, I love swimming, I love the beach, I love marine animals, I love animals in general. And there was something that was like really like moving in my spirit. And that was, I feel like, the seed for Titties. And then when I came back to New York City, I was like, we need to like gather people. Like and then I was like, I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels this way. And so that pretty much started Titties. And Titties was really focused on creating tote bags from old t-shirts so that we can start giving them out to people and start that going. And then a year later, New York City banned plastic bags. So I was like, okay, like, you know, as a collective, we're doing something, you know, but it's not enough because corporate excuses still happen. Like H&M still gets away with it, and bodegas get away with it still. So that's my plastic story. Okay, next question. What exactly is propelling you to do this work? And we can just go back and forth. You don't have to like write it out or anything like that. I could go. I feel like because I grew up taking care of my half siblings, I have a really deep relationship with children. And I don't know, I feel like the world that we live in right now is not okay. And again, there's this, it's the same motion as we can do so much better. Like, I know we can. We've sent people to the moon and we've developed wireless earbuds. Like, that didn't exist 5-6 years ago, you know. And so as a species, we're able to create magnificent things and make really amazing things happen. And so it's like we have these huge social issues that somehow don't ever really get rectified. No matter how many social or technological advances we make, these things still remain like tethered to something. And so I became really obsessed with like, what is this thing that keeps poverty a thing? Like, what is this thing that keeps plastic, or like the decision to do things that we know are not good for us and the environment and the world and society and culture, but there's like we keep doing it. And so it's like, what is that energy? And so I like, the more I investigated, the more I started pulling things. And then I was also like working in different industries. After I graduated, I was in the kitchens washing dishes and grilling pork, and I saw how much meat was being wasted. And then I saw who would come into the restaurant, right, during their lunch break, like people in suits and ties. And the people who were working in the kitchen, like artists like myself and my buddy Nate, who's a musician, like, and people who like didn't go to college, you know, and who couldn't go to college, you know, couldn't in terms of like, it was not in their, you know, like it was never a seed in their consciousness. And if all these other like layers of accessibility, not in a victimizing way at all, but in like a realistically, if that's not in your environment, you're not gonna, if you don't have anyone in your family who went to college, it's more difficult for you to then be like, oh yeah, I want to do this. And also college isn't really be all end all of anything, but it's more of like just like social advancement, ability, blah, blah, blah. Okay, all that stuff. And then I was also doing performance work and all that stuff. And so I started like pulling all these ideas together. And it came down to like the decision to do something, even though, and then, okay, sorry, I'm not going all over the place, but like, I promise it'll like come together. In my personal life, I was like, okay, if I'm gonna buy a hamburger, right? If I'm gonna eat meat, knowing where the animal comes from, knowing how the animal is treated, I am implicit in their suffering. Okay, that's one thing. If I'm gonna continue smoking cigarettes and I know that it's bad for me and I'm gonna do it anyway, that's me being implicit in my own degradation of health. The same thing for alcohol. And so I saw these like pillars of decisions. I was like, I cannot be doing these things anymore. But it was really like an internal discovery of self. That was like, okay, I know something is wrong. If I'm going to keep doing it, I'm not only messing up my life, but I'm messing up the people's lives all around. And then as an artist, I see everything as like one cohesive like orchestra. And so I was like, okay, if I'm going to be discordant in my own life, that's going to affect everything else. So that was really the propulsion to change, is the realization that we're all connected. And so one decision from one individual does make a huge difference. I keep a little nail plastered to blue tack because when I got my tires looked at, he found one little nail in my tire. It was tiny, but that one little nail caused my tire to like lose air. So my van became like this. And once the van's like this, it's like it messes up the alignment because it's one little nail. So I was like, even though, activists say individual action doesn't really do much, I strongly disagree. And so that's my view. What about you, Kyle? Are you there?
I'll be honest,
Always.
I don't really know. It's not a straightforward answer for me. I think the reason I do this job with you, like above the money is nice, is that I feel like I need to do more for the environment. I've lived my whole life in New York City, and I'm not ignorant to the numbers of like I know the environmental impact of me living here is significantly more than someone who doesn't live in this city or a city in general. And you know what? I do enjoy living in New York City. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else, but I know it's not great as like a society to live here. So for me, I want to do this work to at least try to make up for that.
Mm. Yeah, it's something about being unavoidable, right? Like it's not as if we created New York City or like created the structures that exist currently. We're sort of players in the game, but I definitely recognize your choice to equal out that relationship balance, sense of balance within that. Cool. Okay, last question for this section of the session. If you could change one thing right now about our current climate crisis, what would it be? Give us a minute to think about that. Hey, you had to look back. I'm trying to think for you. Hey, one. Okay. Kyle, you have an answer?
I think one thing I wish the government had some way of making it worthwhile for itself to commit to climate issues, because climate is not a short-term thing that's necessarily accomplishable in 4 years, therefore, or six, or even eight. Therefore, most politicians, they just don't care. It not that they don't care, but I would say they're an awful lot on the same page as I am. They live here, they like they care about the environment. Every day they see the environment, they see the trash, but it doesn't necessarily make the most sense for them as a politician, as their job to do that, at least to combat climate as a main issue versus combating it versus other issues first, because you can't make a lot as a politician. Their results are everything, and you can't accomplish those results in 4 years. Therefore, it's not a reasonable platform to have as like a main platform. And I don't know if that there's a solution to that without compromising the whole reason we have 4 year and 6 year terms. But I wish the government, they had a way to make it so.
Yo, Kyle, that's amazing. So a couple of points. I didn't know about the 6 year term, and also the fact that these structures, right? Like the fact that it is a 4 year term, and then I would say maybe it might be an assumption that we can't tackle these things within 4 year spans. And to answer your question directly, there is 100% a solution to any problem. 100, it's just a matter of finding it and then implementing it. I feel like this is amazing because this is also like bleeding into the blueprint, right? Like why we're doing this work with, and why we've specifically asked council members to show up to these meetings, because we do have a solution, but I feel like they're so tied up in what they're doing and the structures that they're existing and swimming in, that they don't have necessarily the means or the labor or the minds necessarily that are hinged, you know what I'm saying, to the current structures that be. Whereas we can come in as a, I don't know, like a third party situation. We don't, you know, like we get our funding from donations, you know what I'm saying? So that already provides a leeway for us to be able to do the work that we're doing. The trash situation, Kyle, is multi-layered, which, you know, we've been working on the B2B program. Last night I like shoved all the boxes, like the biodegradable boxes in a trash bag, because I wasn't going to bring them, but I was like, no, like I have to bring these samples, because like that's exactly what we're doing. Because then what we can do is, so I just got like really shitty energy thrown at me. What we can do is have this plastic be eliminated one restaurant at a time. And so the levels of trash that we see in New York City can like start, and I wonder if there's like data that we can do, like measure the amount of trash that, you know, goes down over a period of time the more that we do this work. But there is a solution, and that's what the B2B program is directly addressing. And that's what this workshop is directly addressing as well, because the whole idea is to keep our trash at home so it doesn't end up in our trash bins. You know what I'm saying? And then the healing hubs come in at that point where we can go door to door and pick up the trash from people, or have you know, something like what you found, like DK Rot and like their system of. As I sip on my styrofoam cup. Sweet tea. And the fact that I'm even like holding this class at a place like McDonald's, that makes me feel, I mean, ideally, right, like this is actually a really great place to hold a class. Like these tables are super clean, there's free Wi-Fi, there's food, not the best food for right now, but we can work on that. And there's electric stuff. Like this would be ideal to like transform. I don't know, it's cool, it's really cool. I hear you though, council members and government officials. What do you think about what I said though, about like working directly with council members and like filling in that gap, or like asking them like what they need first, and then seeing how we can respond to that with solutions?
Well, that, of course, I think that's a great idea. But what I really meant by that, I meant like there are benefits to having politicians who are focused on short term because of a result of them having to be reelected in 4 years. But as a result, they don't necessarily care as much about long term issues such as climate. And I wish there was a way to strike a better balance, at least just in terms of politics and the choices they make politically. Because most people in America, they do support movements to improve the environment. Like that's just people have done that. The majority of Americans do care, at least in terms of do they care or do they not care.
Yeah.
So politicians, you'd think they would support that as a thing, as a main issue, but they don't, solely because it doesn't make as much sense politically to do that versus another important issue. And I wish there was a better way to strike a balance between that. But I still think
Ayahuasca.
good that we provide them more resources so they can make it so that that choice isn't as difficult. So that choice is more straightforward for them. Because if they do care about the environment, then obviously any easier way to improve the environment, it's a no-brainer to take that option.
I connected yesterday with he works in television, but he's also a carpenter and a musician. And he was telling me he's working on this show called New Amsterdam. And he was telling me that they're basically going to strike the reenactment of a historical building. I mean, that's like thousands of pounds of lumber that these film companies, they just like throw this away. So we were talking yesterday about how to like utilize the trash that gets thrown out in specific industries, which leads me to my next set of exercises here. But I'll share my answer before we go into that, which is, and then also a question that I'm writing for the blueprint presentation is a direct question to the council members prior to attending the 25th, is to have them think about 3 things that they need from us that would mitigate that for them. Like what does need to happen actually, council member XYZ from your different boroughs, based off of your observations and your professional experience. Okay, so that's, so my response would be, at first I wrote production and transportation intensive, something I saw a carpool and I was thinking about the larger schematics of how our society is like woven into each other in terms of like going to a job, one person in one car doing one job. It's like the efficiency of how we've been organized as a society has been really focused on profit. And because that has been ingrained on so many different levels in the way that we think and operate and form families and get into relationships and decide where we want to live and like all this stuff, right? Like if we were to switch that and make climate and the environment the focus, a lot of these other things start to like naturally sort of like weave itself apart from that framework. So I said ayahuasca just now as like a half joke, but really we're talking about a consciousness issue here. I don't know, if I was a politician and had 4 years, I would make it happen because that's what I really care about, but that's who I am though, so, and I wasn't, yeah, but that's who I am. So it really depends on like people's agendas of becoming a politician or that job as a category and the government structure in general. But I would say that I would want to work on people's consciousness and like, how do we do that without psychedelics, or meditation or like all this stuff. It's like, it's a deep rooted, we're talking about people's root chakras where they don't feel safe enough, even though they have $8 million in the bank to sell. So I was listening to a podcast on the way here by Ramit Sethi, and he was using an example with a couple who were like that their net worth is like 8 million, but they were price comparing $15 strawberries. It's like what's really going on there, So yeah. Woo. Okay. And exercise. Okay, in 3 minutes, I want you to please write down every single plastic item that you see around you in a Word document, please. And I will start the timer. 1.5 minutes left. Got 30 more seconds. All right, 5 more seconds. And time. All right. Would you like to go first? Kyle, you there? Hello, Kyle, come in. You muted it. What is this? Chat. Oh, sorry. Be right back. Oh, never mind. I didn't read that. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna go first then. So in 3 minutes, I found the table that I'm currently sitting on at McDonald's, the cup. Kyle, let me know. I'm gonna write there. Let me know when you're back, please. Okay. So yeah, the table, the cup, my water bottle, my phone, my Apple charger, my titty sticker, the rubbish bin disposal thingy, the light fixture above me, my flip-flops, someone's shoes, my Ajuna Deep wristband, cat treat wrapper. So I'm having to hide these treats from Mika, but she's gonna get into them when she's alone in the van. The McFlurry spoon, a hair clip. I saw a woman in line, she had a hair clip on, scrunchies, drink dispenser, headphones, the signage outside that says, come to McDonald's. Someone has a surfboard and the surfboard holder is made from plastic. The POS system at McDonald's and the broom and sweeper. I should also put chairs. I'm pretty sure these chairs are chairs at McDonald's. It's also made from plastic.
I mean, in terms of plastic objects, I have a plastic bottle, coconut water. The inside is plastic. I have a little plastic heart that comes from a boba thing. I don't know how to describe that. It's a little plastic heart. They have 2 holes, one for air and one for the straw. And the hole that has air, they cover it with this little plastic heart. It's a new boba thing. All the boba shops buy from the same
Oh,
supplier. They have the little red heart that goes sticks on the hole, and then you pull it out. Otherwise, you can't drink anything.
yeah.
Uh, the computer monitor has a lot of plastic. The mouse pad. I have a stack of loose leaf that comes in a plastic wrapper. I've a lot of normal things you'd keep in a bag. A ruler, calculator. All those things are plastic.
Yep. Okay, awesome. Now we're going to spend 3 to 5 minutes organizing these items according to industry. And if we're done before 3 minutes, then let me know, and I will do my best as well to do this within the time. All right, let's go. Woo-hoo. 5 minutes. Cool. Okay. All right. The industries that I came up with were furniture, utensils, electronics, household items, miscellaneous, and under miscellaneous, I put sticker, wristband, and signage, clothes, accessories, pet food, and sports. That's 9 industries that I found. What do you find, Kyle?
So a lot of them were like packaging for food grade items. Some of them were just packaging for like office supplies. The office supplies themselves, the manufacturers for those, technology, and that kind of goes with the calculator too. So that's what I have. But I guess also furniture too. There's chairs, partially plastic.
Yeah, I would also say stationery. Like I would probably classify like woolen, all those things as like stationery. It's huge. Yeah, oh my God, this image is, yeah, okay. Okay. Oh boy. All right. Well, I'm not at home right now and I'm certainly not going to look through McDonald's trash, but the next item on the agenda is to go look in the trash at home and to see what's inside the trash to get a sense of the majority of items that have been thrown away. And you don't need to like go and do this if it's like out of the way or like too far away for you, but or if you have like a trash bin near you to like just like peek inside and see like what would be. I mean, my inference would be McDonald's cups, like all of their like disposable food items, including the paper thing that they put the tray on, or that it's on the tray. So
I think in my like little garbage can in the room, it's probably just in terms of, oh wait, this is just in general, not just plastic. It probably just like pieces of paper and floss. I think that's mainly what's in my garbage.
it's flossing at your desk. That's funny. I've been using this charcoal floss. I wonder if it's biodegradable. I'm pretty sure it is. Charcoal floss, or is it like, what's it made out of? Yeah, this one, organic bamboo fiber with activated charcoal. Yeah, bamboo fiber, so it is. Yeah, because what's regular floss?
What is it? Caroline's trying to get in the meeting.
Oh, word, nice. Thank you. Flossing. Hey, Caroline. Is everything okay? Everything's good?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. So we were at the section where we spent about a couple of minutes going through the items that are around us and to make a list of as many plastic items that you see in your vicinity, and then from there to break it into industries. So Kyle and I identified the industries that correlate to the items that we found, including like stationery, electronics, pet food, miscellaneous items, technology. Although I would classify technology as electronics. Can you imagine if they if they use recycled plastic to make all electronics moving forward? But then, right, the questionable thing after that is, even though it's made from recyclable plastic, it can still be thrown away. So that still contributes to the trash issue. So which is like a huge like bing inside this like, it literally just burst my bubble, because I was like, oh, we can just stop making plastic and then use recycled plastic. But if people's behaviors don't change, and not just individual, but as manufacturing companies, we still need to find an alternate material outside of plastic. And then to like focus on reusing recyclable plastic pellets to make larger items like furniture, for instance, that is not as quickly disposable of compared to like a cup or like a pen, you know. Oh my God, I was at City MD last year in Jersey. I had to get like a COVID test before I went to work. And guys, They were throwing away pens once you touched it. They literally threw the pen, the entire pen. You signed your name and you threw it away. And they had a bin full of perfectly fine pens that was thrown out. And I was like, you realize that people in other parts of the world don't even have like a pencil to write with, right? And like kids have to like share stationery. And she's like, yeah, but we have so much. So, you know, that was literally her answer. I almost bitched. Oh my God, I almost, woo. Rainbows and sunshine. So Caroline, that's basically where we're at right now in terms of the agenda. So the next item, oh my God. Okay, the next item is spend another 3 to 5 minutes recording the brands and where they are made. I'm gonna reset the timer. So Caroline, if you wanna join in, maybe you can start with first identifying in 3 minutes, make a list of classic items around you that you can see. Okay, 3 minutes, let's go.
I don't think we've actually, and I've talked to you before, and updated nice to meet you too. 866. Yeah, he did what he took me. He'd come back 2 times. 200. Have a good day.
Give like 1 more minute. Caroline, if you're done, you can move on to the next thing, which is to then organize what you found into industries. Is that correct? Let me just make sure I'm giving you the right directions. Yeah, industry. So for example, like electronics or food or clothing items. Kyle, I'm done if you're ready. For brands, oh shit, where they're made. Oh God. Yeah.
They don't want to pay.
Mm. Yeah, Berlin. All right, Kyle, you good? You done?
Done with what exactly? What was I supposed to be doing?
My dude, you're supposed to find where they're made. Spend 3 to 5 minutes recording the brands, and then where are the items made.
I was distracted with thinking of what we should add to this for the future.
Wait,
I was-
add to what? Sorry.
to this workshop. Also,
Oh.
I was Googling how much Zoom meeting, whatever membership costs, because this is capped out at like an hour, right? Or something like that.
No. I already got the unlimited one.
Oh,
We
okay.
can be on here forever.
All right. So that's all that. Okay.
Yeah, okay, never mind. I'll share. Okay, so from the brands that I found, okay, so from the first thing was find the items, right? Then we organize it into brands. Then we find out where the brands are made. So the brands that I found were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 brands. They are Apple items made in China. McDonald's, I don't know where the items are made in. Why didn't I just Google that? What the heck? Where are McDonald's items made? Because we're gonna get a passports. Germany. No, McDonald's manufacturing items made. Oh, it did start in Germany. Where does yeah, that was I put a question mark because I feel like every McDonald's probably gets their furniture from somewhere else. So that's a big question mark. It's like so massive. Okay, Havaianas, my flip-flops are made from the brand Havaianas and they're made in Brazil. The Urban Ears headphones are made in Stockholm, Sweden. Smart Water is actually a US bottle called Glacial. Smart Water begins as an artisan spring in Northern Connecticut. Rachel Ray Cat treats are manufactured in Ainsworth, and they have facilities in Meadville, Pennsylvania, and Frenetec, Kansas. Aspera La Vista, baby. So those are the locations that we will go to. Oh my God, travel time. All right, Caroline, what did you find? No, but seriously though.
I have a sticky note.
Wait. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
so this is what I found. And then this is like the industries that I kind of split it into, like packing or delivery, stuff like that, or more generally, I guess, like stationery, including this maybe. And then like home utilities is kind of the second one that I did. And then last was like health sanitizing.
Okay, cool. So then the next part for you, Caroline, is to find out the brands and then where they're located. Okay. 很好. Okay, next thing. Oh yeah, then also after that, Caroline needs to go and look in your trash and see what's thrown out, but we can skip that step for right now. Let's get us on the same. Oh boy, this is the action part. Okay. Find 3 containers around you. Okay, and it can be anything, or you can like make it up, or you can like take a piece of paper and like that's like your container. Basically, what we want to be doing is create the practice of organizing our trash. Okay, so find 3 containers and then fill it up with 3 different types of plastic trash around the house. And it could be, Kyle, for example, I know you have a bunch of bottles that you've been keeping. That can be one container, and then another container can be something else. And in that, let's do that for 3 minutes. I'm going to run to the bathroom. Cancel, stopwatch, reset, start. Okay, BRB.
Yeah, I got some of that LMR. Yeah, I got that. That's what I had. It's in the bar.
Right, back. Okay. Did you guys manage to organize the trash?
I'm kind of confused what you mean by like the plastic. Like, are you trying to find where the plastic made? That's pretty hard because there's no like label.
Wait, can say again, Caroline? Sorry.
Like, are you trying to find where the plastic's made? Because that's pretty hard because there's no label.
If it's not labeled, then it's then you cannot, like, for example, like the light fixtures, for example, above me, like I don't know what, like what brand that is, but that comes because I'm in the facility of McDonald's, so like it'll be like a manufacturing company that makes the manufacturing stuff for McDonald's, so I have no idea where that is. But if you can find, like, then then that'll be good. How did you manage to itemize the plastic stuff into different categories? And if you
Item-
did,
Itemize the.
So
What,
for
what do you
example-
mean? Yes.
so yeah, so if, for example, like trash wise, right, like if this was trash, then this would go under like wrapping, this will go under packaging. I wish I brought my bag. I had this huge bag of trash that I was keeping, and I would like take out the, you know, like the bread, how do you say, like the bread thingies, like to tie the thingies around the bread. You know what I'm talking about? Oh my God, my mind.
They're bread ties.
Thank you. Bread ties. So that will go into one category. And then another thing would be like maybe plastic straws and then plastic bottles. So basically we want to get into the habit of creating like a plastic collection station at home, so we can get into the habit of keeping our trash and then also organizing our trash so that we can have a bunch of straws, for instance. So when we make our plastic monsters, we can draw from our pool of art supplies that, you know, we've already organized, instead of having like a giant mess of things and then trying to make something from that. Does that make sense?
We organize the supplies we have to make the art.
Yes. From the habits that we're going to start forming to keep our plastic at home so we don't throw it away. Does that make sense? It's like the larger thing of what we're doing.
We organize the plastic so we know what we have, so we don't throw it in the trash.
First, the last one first. So we don't throw it in the trash. We organize it, then we know what we have. Caroline, this is a great slide to input into the PDF as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Caroline. Okay. Okay, cool. So basically, I'll move on. We have about like maybe 10, no less than that, like 6 minutes left. Okay, so the next time you have a bottle cap or an envelope with a piece of plastic on it or an Amazon package, I would like for you to save that piece of trash. The exercise for the next 3 weeks is to save as much plastic that comes your way at home. All right, the last exercise, or the second to last, because we really made the t-shirt bag in our previous session, so we won't be doing that today. Our last session is to write a love letter to plastic. Okay, tell it how much you love it, what it's done for you on a personal level, and how sad you are to see it go. And then on the screen share, we will read each letters out loud. Let's do that for maybe like 2 minutes, and then we have enough time to read each other's letters, and then we can wrap. Set 2 minutes. Okay. Okay, I didn't finish my love letter, but maybe we can read each other's letters, or would you like to read your own letter? Maybe read your own letter, quicker. Okay, who would like to go first? Caroline, would you like to read your love letter?
I'm not done, and
Oh,
I don't really know what I'm writing.
okay. Kyle, would you like to go?
Likewise, I'm still working on it.
Okay, I'll share mine. I know I'm not done either, but I'll give you a sense of. Dear Plastic, thank you for existing. I know it's not your fault for being what you are, and I no longer blame you for how you were made and used. Thank you for keeping my things dry. Thank you for being a useful tool for me to put food in my mouth. Thank you for being a great insulator for electric cables. Thank you for everything you've done. And then yeah, and then ideally we would read each other's letters, and we would have this be a section in the plastic museum as well. And then the final item is our t-shirts, which I feel like we can give ourselves like 10 minutes. I think that's like a 10-minute agenda. Great. This is a great, how do you say, example of a class. So I've not run a class, like I've never run this class before, this session before. So this, yeah, cool. All right, feedback. What did you guys feel about today's session? What were some things that you took away? Slash which item, or sorry, my brain's like beep beep beep. Which item during the session do you feel like was helpful, or did you like, which section were you like confused about, or like, yeah, like what are your overall wrap up thoughts? Kyle, Caroline. Guys, come here.
Feedback. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what you want me to do.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So how I felt about the class. I thought, I'm sorry, I'm tired. Let me think.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Same.
I thought that it was an insightful experience, that it's something I've never done before. And it's made me more appreciate the vastness of the plastic problem, in terms that it affects everyone significantly.
Was there a specific exercise in the workshop today that really stood out to you, or you know, wish you could?
I like the one where you list all the plastic around you, because I forgot the chair is made out of plastic.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks for that feedback, Kyle. Caroline?
Before I came in, like, do you know what you guys did? Because I wasn't here for like 40 minutes.
Sure. Yeah. Before we start listing the plastic, I had 3 questions that I can put in the chat that you can maybe include in the PDF. Yeah. This was the first question. So Kyle and I just went back and forth and shared our insight and our thoughts about these questions and our own experiences. We pretty much like crafted our, sorry, I just stuck a whole plastic bag of shit in the trash. We shared our, what's it called again? What did I say? Origin story. Thank you. Okay, yeah, those were the 3 questions that we talked about before we moved into the exercise section of the workshop. I can hear Mika like meowing for me. All right, my dudes. For myself, I really, this was the first time I ever did this with like anyone. So I like as a teacher, like I gave myself an hour and 15 minutes, definitely not enough time because we didn't even get to do the plastic, the, what do you call that? The tote bag making. So it might feel like, especially if it's only 2 people, imagine if it's like 8 people, you know, or like 16 people in a session, it's going to take a lot more time. So it's making me reconsider like the duration. Also, I'm like capped out at 5. Like I was like done at 5. So there's also a note for myself to like not push myself past like an hour of class. And then that way spread it out over, because the plastic museum is going to be meeting 3 times a week in September. So we can finish the, what do you call that? The curriculum in 4 weeks instead of 12 weeks. So cap it at 1 hour, 3 times a week. I feel like that also builds momentum. And yeah, this is really, really awesome, you guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much for joining. I emailed Megan to see, you know, but I will probably email her again and check in and see what happened. Or maybe she might join a different session. So it's excellent.
Well, I think the other feedback I had was like it felt a little rushed to me because I had to came in late. It was like 30 minutes to do everything. You might have like a lot of content. I don't know if you can do all in an hour, especially if you're spending 3 questions. Like how long did those 3 questions take? Like a whole half hour to discuss.
Yeah, about there.
Yeah, I feel like that's a little. I feel like if you have a session full of 8 people, they can just either shorten the questions or have everyone go without like too much commentating on like their responses or like a back and forth.
Well, Kyle, what did you feel about the discussion in the very beginning before moving into the exercise?
I thought it was fine, but I also agree with Caroline. Maybe you could do like you have 3 questions. Every week you accomplish those 3 questions, 1 question per session. And I think that's generally what I'm thinking. Like you just don't have all the activities on the same session.
Okay. Okay, but for the exercise section though, like, did you feel like that made cohesive sense to do all those things in the same session?
Yeah, but it's also a matter of time. And if you're attending multiple sessions in an order, then it's not a big deal. And
Yeah.
we can always record these sessions and then people can attend one and then watch the other after it happens. So something like that. Still, I think it's fine.
Okay, excellent feedback, guys. Thank you. Sweet.
I also think that if you made like wrote it down somewhere, like you had a PowerPoint or a worksheet or something that people could read along.
I'm so against making PowerPoint slides, you guys. I did think about that. I was gonna make this like liberatory learners and who am I? Not but I'm like, I don't want to do
Or
that.
maybe you can do cards. You can have individual cards.
What do you mean?
Because each of these activities you could put it on a card and then you just send people a list of all of the cards and then you decide which ones in the moment you want to talk about. Like we're gonna we'll move to card 5 with this activity on it.
You like your cards. You're a card guy.
Yeah, I like cards.
But like, if it's virtual though, how are you going to do that?
I don't know. Email everyone a PDF with all the cards on it.
It requires more work. But definitely definitely an idea to do. Yeah, I cannot do this by myself. I'm definitely not doing this by myself. It's too much to take on.
I mean, or you write down like a header for each section and then write down like the time that it should be allocated for.
We did do that. I did do that. So in general, right, for my lessons, I tend to like over plan. Like I tend to want to have more to do than like, oh no, we're like out of activities, you know what I'm saying? So I'll think about that. I mean, ideally, I don't want to teach over Zoom. I really don't want to teach over Zoom. Ideally, it would be in person. Then the cards make sense. Then we can just do like flashcards and write the thing down. You know what I'm saying? Then, but I see what you're saying, Kyle. Yeah, actually, yeah. Actually, why don't I can just do that? It's not that much work. I don't want to make PDFs. I don't want to make PowerPoint slides. I'm so stubborn about that.
Yeah, I think the PowerPoint slides will help too, because your questions sometimes, like the letters and stuff, like it's not really clear if you just say it once.
I could put it, if it's virtual, I could put it in the chat.
Yeah.
I'm finding ways
better.
to like go around making a PowerPoint presentation if I don't have to. But with that said, let's discuss. Today is what, Wednesday. We're going to meet again on Friday morning at 10 a.m. with Benjamin. Please prepare like maybe, I don't know, like 1 to 3 questions for Ben, and like check out some of the work that he's done. And I will do the same as well. Yeah, man.
One final thing.
Yeah.
If we have more participants than we can like get to, like in terms of like talking about them at the end with feedback, like we should just make a form or something they could fill out. Plus for like contact info or whatever. It could just be a blank form, like they could put whatever they want in terms of text, and then you could just have that.
Like a feedback form, is it?
Yeah.
How do you feel like you could make that?
Yeah.
Thank you. And then we can use that moving forward. Do you feel like it would be necessary to fill that out, even if it's only you guys or one person? To have like as data, I suppose.
I think it's just like in case we're running out of time, like you have people fill it out perhaps maybe after the meeting, like if they're busier, something like that.
Got you. Yeah, it's called customer. There's a term. I just learned it on Monday. Oh my God. Customer. Basically finding your ideal avatar. Your customer avatar. Okay. Cool. That's excellent. That's a great idea. And then Friday session I have to figure out how I want to organize, like given today's class. So I have some time to like reflect upon today's session and then make the agenda. But I'm like 16, how many hours? I'm like 11 hours away from Brooklyn. So cool. Travels. I'm not 16 now. I'm 11 hours and 9 minutes away. All right, my dudes. Thank you again. And if there's anything, just text me. What are we working on from now until for tomorrow? What's on the agenda for tomorrow? Work-wise.
Say again? I wasn't.
Sorry. What's on the agenda for tomorrow's work? The 5 hours of work.
I'm gonna work on Friday.
Okay. You're gonna put 10 hours in on Friday?
8.
8? Word, okay.
Because I worked 3 hours today, 5 hours yesterday, 8 hours Monday.
Okay. And then, okay, cool. And then Caroline, the last 2 days.
For now, the infographic, and then after the infographic, the slides probably. But once you approve the infographic.
Okay. Cool. I have a call with Jason, the real estate guy in New Jersey at 5:45. And then I'm going to drive for maybe another like 5 more hours, probably crash somewhere, wake up tomorrow morning, drive to Flatbush. I'm going to go to the beach first. That's my first destination. Say hello to the ocean. And then because I'm only like 23 minutes away from my appointment in Flatbush. And then I'll check in with you guys, see Caroline's slides, check out Emma's. I have to watch all of Emma's like videos. I haven't watched a lot of her videos. And then Caroline, it's your last 2 days. Caroline, do you feel like you want to join us and hop on if you can? You know, I know you're going back to school and stuff, but do you feel like you'll have time to hop on the sessions next week moving forward?
I think I have class and work on those hours.
Sometimes. Okay. All right, no worries. Yeah, it's your final semester. Oh my God. Okay. And then, yeah, I can't think of anything else right now. Kyle and Anna will probably be working really hard on the presentation and figuring out a run of show item for the 25th. And then once I'm in New York City, I'm gonna download what the game plan is and what are the institutions that we need to hit up. Probably a couple of museums. I mean, you know, I said it was going to be a virtual presentation, but I low-key feel like if I'm going to be physically there in New York City, we might as well have it be like in person. And I'll talk to Tony. I'll see if Tony can hop on the phone with me later on today or tomorrow. So, yeah. Anything else?
No, nothing from me.
Okay.
No.
All right, gang. I'll see you later.
See you Friday.
Okay.
Bye.